It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, today we're going to start out the episode in a somber way. We're going to attend a funeral. You can see on the Sharp Interactive board, I have a coffin. There's flowers in front of it. And folks, I saw a press release yesterday that was from our friends over at EKM. You know, the software, the DCA, the IoT software that's owned by TD SYNNEX Tech Data. I've talked about it quite a bit. But folks, it seems now they have augmented reality capabilities. And so basically when I read that press release, it just solidified all of my thinking. My thinking that one day, DCA technologies in the hands of distributors who are tightly connected to HP are going to really cause havoc to those friends of mine that sell supply and service print equipment. And folks, we already know that the copier dealership from 1990 or 2000 is pretty much dead. That coffin lid's already been shut. The coffin's been buried. But those friends of mine are trying to maintain a continuous relevance. And right now they're plowing through disruption, and it's tough. And they're looking for avenues, and they're looking for programs and processes and products and services to help them maintain a continuous relevance. But in the marketplace, there's a lot of folks out there that basically are just stuck in print, stuck in toner, and just think the whole world revolves around a customer running out of toner for their printer. And in all reality, those friends of mine that are transitioning realize that's the least of the worries of customers today. And so when I read this press release about EKM having augmented reality, I thought it would be time to go ahead and have the funeral for the copier dealers' aspirations, especially those copier dealers that are paying attention to the nuttiness with some of the software companies in our space. And so this funeral is being held at the DCA Technology Funeral Home, specializing in copier printer dealers. And they have the finest Italian-made coffins. I'm not sure the brand name of this coffin. Can't really read it over there. But folks, I got to ask everybody a question. Is the coffin lid getting ready to close on your aspirations? I believe it is. And now I'm going to share with you who's helping close that lid. They all brought flowers, ironically. They helped close the lid, but they brought you flowers. You got a big wreath here from the distributor-owned DCA company. You got DCA disguised IoTs. You got these folks with these DCA tools disguised as IoT tools, confusing the hell out of an industry, talking about how they're going to manage everything for everybody. Everything's going to go on a SaaS, and we're going to win the world, and everything's got to have our DCA tool. I mean, these DCA tools talking about their IoT, the press releases from some of these DCA tools, it really reminds me of the press releases that we see in our industry on a regular basis. Just nonsensical press releases that have absolutely zero value to any dealer. It's just a bunch of egomaniacs doing press releases about stuff they're going to do. But they never ever talk about what they've done. Did the last press release come true? What came of the last press release? These DCA folks really remind me of some consultants in our space. It's crazy. Let's just keep talking about stuff that never happens so we can distract people from the fact it never happened. And that's what I believe these DCA folks are doing. It's all just smoke and mirrors. It's just insanity when you think about it. Industry's analysts, our industry leaders, those dealer friends of mine, they got to start demanding more from these analysts. These analysts need to start asking some questions. And if the analysts aren't smart enough to ask the questions, then hire some people to get the questions asked. Okay? I realize that y'all want to collect money from everybody. If you collect money from everybody, you got to treat everybody exactly the same. Just be nice to everybody and hope it all works out. In the meantime, the dealers are falling off a damn cliff. Maybe it's time these industry analysts put on their big boy and big girl clothes and actually went out and did their damn jobs. The industry's media contributed to the death of the dealers' aspirations. You know why? Because basically they're just landing pages for the OEMs and products to put their brochures. That's all they are. That's all these media outlets are. Oh, plus they give out awards a lot. And then we got the industry consultants. These industry consultants probably worked somewhere before. Some of these folks, maybe they should just retire. If you can't deliver original content, if you can't challenge the status quo, if you can't go out and actually articulate an argument for or against anything, maybe it's time you retire. Maybe it's time you have that retirement party and bring everybody together. I suggest if you have the retirement party, you reach out to Great America. I did that episode where they bought that. I think the rumor is anyway, that they bought the hotel out there in Arizona and they're going to collect a bunch of people together and have a retirement party. Maybe more people need to go to that retirement party. But ladies and gentlemen, don't show up at your own funeral. Let me talk a little bit about this. So EKM launches augmented reality. Go find the press release, read it. But folks, I want you to think about this. Think about augmented reality, distributor-owned DCA tools, and HP completely in bed with the distributor. OEMs out there. You know, I talk a lot about dealers being disrupted. Think about the OEM. Think about the OEM that has a major national or international account, and a distributor has a DCA tool and has a fantastic relationship with HP. And they decide that they're going to use the DCA tool to go into that enterprise account, collect all kinds of information that they'll then give to HP because they're going to do it direct to the enterprise account. There is no data share and there's nothing to worry about. The enterprise account said, oh yeah, sure, that'd be fantastic, TD Senix. Load up this DCA tool, get all this information, give it to HP and try to help us out. And then Konica loses their national account or their international account. Sharp, Ricoh. Folks, this is reality. And you all better start paying attention to this reality. So folks, I went to the websites of Predictive Insights. And Predictive Insights, we know who this company is, right? So Predictive Insights is a company here in America that sells the EKM platform to the dealers here in America. Running around getting dealers to put their MIFs on the EKM platform so they can continue to fund this platform as a construction project for HP. Now, I realize there'll probably be someone go on Frank Canada's show, do an episode about a conspiracy theory. But folks, I need you all to wake up and start asking some tough questions because the analysts aren't going to do it for you. The consultants aren't going to do it for you. You've got to do it yourself. Don't rely on the media. Don't rely on these crazy-ass press releases. You have to start asking these questions. But I went to their websites, and I want to pull one thing up on each website that kind of brings some questions to bear. We're going to start out with EKM. Folks, you can't even make this up. I go to EKM's website. This is the company, the IoT company that just added augmented reality that talks about how their DCA tool is basically going to take people to Mars. And there's a white paper. I'm excited. Oh man, I'm going to be able to read this white paper. I'm going to read about someone using this tool and going to Mars and all these great things they did. I'm reading this white paper and it's all about putting toner in a printer machine. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this could have been written like 12 years ago. Well, guess what? I was right. The only white paper on the entire website of EKM was written on March 15th of 2011. This is the company that's been running around the world for the last few years talking about how their DCA tool takes people to space, basically. I mean, you've heard this guy talk, right? And their white paper's about putting toner in printers at an Italian insurance company. Just something to think about, folks, because if you think it's more than toner going into printers, if you think it's more than collecting data about printers, you're delusional, because that's all it is. And it's in the hands of a distributor who's tightly woven to HP. Let's look at Predictive Insights website. So I go there and I look at the team, meet the team. I'm trying to figure out how big is this company? Well, I go to the website, there's 2 team members. Now, if it would have said meet the leaders, I could understand that. You got 2 leaders, you got Edward and Sean. But it says meet the team. So I'm thinking this whole entire company has 2 employees. Well, that's impossible. How can 2 employees run around all over America, get dealers to put all their data in their platform, which is owned by EKM, by the way, and EKM obviously owned by who? TD Senix Tech Data. But how could they have just 2 employees? So I got to ask the question, where do all the rest of the people work? TD Senix Tech Data? I mean, this is a great question to ask. Let me wrap this up with a couple of questions. What are the restrictions on Predictive Insights regarding selling their business? And I'm just asking this of Ed. I guess Ed or Sean can answer in the comments. Is there any restrictions? When EKM sold their business to Tech Data, which is TD Senix, is there any codicils in that agreement with you that if you ever sell your business, that has to go to Tech Data? I mean, is there anything that says that? Dealers, are you asking these questions? Because companies are built to be sold. We all know that, right? So I just think if you think you're using some software that's owned by 2 guys, you know, and everything's okay because they're just good friends of yours that you can all get around and have a beer and be happy, that's not what this is all about. This is about your myth being on software that one day just might be where? In the hands of Tech Data? Is it in the hands of Tech Data now? I've talked about this a lot, and there's not a whole lot of clear answers coming out of that. And I also want to ask something else to consider. Last week I talked about Valsoft buying MPS Monitor. How does that affect Obrion America? Obrion America was the distributor for MPS Monitor in Americas. MPS Monitor was bought by Valsoft. Are they still going to distribute that through Obrion America? That's a great question, right? You know, when I did those videos, there was a guy from Over God America, Dennis, right? He went on there and he put a whole lot of comments, basically copied and pasted his brochure all over the post so he could make sure everybody knew with all the wonderful IoT things that thing did, which at the end of the day just does what? Manages print. But anyway, folks, what investments does HP have in these DCA wannabe IoT companies? And I think every dealer needs to start asking this question. When you're going on to platforms, start asking the questions that are relevant to you. And ask questions that are tough questions. Look, I know you want me to put my thousands of machines on your platform, but EKM, the company you want me to put all this stuff with, who's their largest customer now? I realize that DCA tool companies aren't going to run around and tell you what dealers have their software. I mean, maybe some of them will, but for the most part, I mean, I think things that dealers do with software companies should be somewhat secretive. There's no reason to do that. But if an OEM is their biggest customer, I think the dealer should know that. I mean, OEMs don't fall in the same group as the dealers, right? Come on. We're all protecting ourselves from overreaching OEMs. That should be the goal. Not hiding the fact that most of our business is coming from the most overreaching OEM in the planet. And oh, by the way, you want to sign up with us? Folks, we got to start really asking these questions and thinking about this. Because what I don't want to happen, I don't want you to have to show up at your own funeral. They'll all bring you flowers. They'll all bring you flowers. Maybe they'll even say, "Ah, sorry, we probably should have done a better job helping you." But at the end of the day, you're still dead. And I want to prevent that coffin lid from slamming on your aspirations. Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.